What is something from your past that you miss? Your grandparents? I miss my papa. Ooh, running track and cross country. Oh, I've never been a runner. Having social life from high school, being 30. Ace misses the military. Okay, okay. I I miss my papa a lot. But I think what I miss the most and I took for granted every single day was waking up and not hurting for no stinking reason. Y'all, I hit 40 and every time I wake up, something new hurts. In my 20s and 30s, that didn't happen. I miss that. I miss that I didn't hurt because it limits what I can do. Um, but what I'm proud of myself now versus then is that I've gotten myself in better shape so that I can do more things and be more active without hurting so bad. Unfortunately, as you get older, your body just kind of falls apart. So I miss that. But I think more than that, even this is weird. I miss not having all of the adult responsibilities. I miss coming home from my friends' houses to dinner made every day. I miss having my laundry washed and all I had to do was put it away. I miss the simplicity of life as a child. I don't know if that makes any sense. But as an adult, it's hard. And as a kid, you can't wait to grow up, and the things that you hate as kids, like naps. I wish I could take a nap every day. Are y'all kidding me? Like, it's 1 o'clock, it's nap time. Sorry, folks, bye. you know? But as a kid, you're like, I don't want it. And you fight it and you fight it. Uh, I miss the simplicity of being younger. I miss that my toughest and my most complicated decision was going to be what I wore to school that day. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, what we're talking about is this here Q and Q, and it says, I think today's youth have a tendency to live in the present and work for the future, and to be totally ignorant of the past. What one thing from the past do you miss? Um, we do this at the beginning. It's kind of like a little bit of an icebreaker, gets us talking a little bit, allows us to kind of get to know. I feel like I have a lot of people that are here every week, so it helps me get to know you guys too. So when you guys answer, it does mean a lot. Um, I've got next week's here, which we will review right before the show ends. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lessons Learned. To the moon, are you ready to hop in the box, darling? We meet here every Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. And our first guest today will be To the Moon. And I will let her tell you guys what we're talking about. And I'm letting you in right now. I like to make sure that the guests, especially if you've been sitting in the box, I don't like you're coming in and then you're like not ready, So how are you today? Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Oh,
I'm good.
TGIF, right? TGIF.
I forgot it was even Friday. My kid's been out of school for 2 days.
Right? Yeah, it's when the kids are out of school, it is hard to keep track of days. I tend to notice that too.
So, yeah.
So To the Moon, what is it that you are going to be sharing with us on this beautiful Friday morning?
I am going to be sharing not to take anything for granted.
Okay. And I told you this one was going to hit hard in the comments.
Yeah.
I've been mentally preparing myself for this since you told me. I'm like, okay, we can do this.
We got this.
So
Oh, my cat is walking by. Okay.
it's all right. It's all right. So I've learned in life that unfortunately sometimes it does take something very tragic for us to realize what we don't want to do for the rest of our life.
Yes.
And taking things for granted, I think, is something a lot of us do. So, what was
Mhm.
it that kind of triggered you into realizing, okay, I can't be like, I need to make this change, I guess is probably the best question.
So my grandpa passed away when I was 25. And so I wrote it. I got a whole
Go ahead.
freaking.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm to the moon. This is my lesson learned. Rewind to age 16. I was already going through weird changes. My mom decided she was leaving on top of it all. I was being raised by two men, my grandpa and my dad. Everything was changing. I was at my grandpa's house a lot. My grandpa taught me a lot of life lessons. I'll never forget. Fast forward to age 25. I found out there was cancer in my grandpa's lymph node. I stayed by his side and held his hand through his surgeries the 2 years. I was thankful for every moment I had with the biggest mentor. He taught me how to laugh. He was my safe place, how to make something out of nothing, how to never give up on what you believe in. He really was a big part of my life. I could give you 10,000 reasons not to take life for granted, but this is mine.
So, what types of things do you think you took for granted most?
Um, I think spending time with my mom because we weren't that close and then she left. Um, I didn't take for granted spending time with my grandpa just because I knew it was fine. Um, I don't know. Maybe calling my mom when she was trying to get closer to me. I really think that I could have spent more time with family when I was a teenager, but boys seemed more important.
I think that's the average teenager, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was definitely more worried about what friends I was going to hang out with than spending time, doing God knows
Yeah.
what cleaning or gardening. My grandfather was a farmer. So in his free time, we were pulling weeds and picking produce and you know what I mean? So he kept me busy. Um, I never thought I'd miss it. Man, you know, I, for me, after losing my grandpa, it was the things that I would complain about. I don't
Yeah.
want to get up at 5:30 and go pick weeds from the green beans. I don't want to pick green beans either. You want me to pick how many pecks of green beans? And then I'd have an attitude all
Yeah.
day. And I'd be grumpy and he'd be like, one day you'll look back and miss this. And I'd roll my eyes at him. I'd be like, whatever, Papa. This is stupid. Don't they have a machine? Can it do? And I just complain. And I would give almost anything for one more morning picking those stupid weeds and the green beans that back then I didn't even like, just
Yeah.
to be with him. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's time is very precious, and I don't think that a lot of people grasp that until it's too late. Now, it might not be too late for
Yeah.
everything in your life, but it takes that one certain situation. And for both of us, it was losing our grandparent.
Mhm.
That made me realize that sometimes those little things are so much more important than the boys or the movie or whatever it is that I was more worried about
Mhm.
doing. Um, what do you think that like, as you sit here today, what do you value more than you ever have because of this loss?
So he played the guitar. He was in a bluegrass band. He played the acoustic guitar.
Okay.
And I think singing with my grandpa while he played the guitar was the the most priceless thing that I could ever imagine.
Right. And do you have children?
I have one, yes.
Do you think that this is something that you're going to make sure your child is more aware of? Because I know for me, it's, and now of course they don't get it, but I do try to force them to do more things than my mom, because my mom didn't necessarily force me to do some of the activities to hang out with the family, and I almost wish she would have. So sometimes my mornings might start off rough because my daughter doesn't want to do something, but
Yeah,
then by the middle of the afternoon she's like, thanks for dragging me out, mom, this was fun, right? And
yeah,
I kind of force more time with the people who are important to me. I think that was my biggest change. You know, did you did you notice any? I don't know how to word this. This one's hard because I gotta be careful not to trigger my own emotions and start bawling over here.
right.
um, I what do you think that you moving forward? How have you changed how you go about some of the situations that maybe in the past you took for granted? Like, do you take more of the little things, like, and absorb them and enjoy them?
Yes, like the other day we were gonna go to the mall and my son was like, uh, and I'm just like, well, I think it's gonna be fun. You should come. And so he ended up having fun. We went to see the new Spider-Verse movie and he's like, thanks, mom, that was fun. And
Mhm.
I did really love that. I did really love that.
I think
We have our
memory. Go ahead.
we have our tickets hanging up there. You can see them. They
Yeah.
have these new collectible tickets now. When you go see the Spider Verse movie, they have collectible tickets in the cinemas.
I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. I like little souvenirs. I'm that weird person. I usually keep my movie tickets and stuff like
It's
that.
a
Put 'em in my
memory,
book.
you know. I
It's a
like
souvenir.
memories.
I think that most people should realize that memories and time is the most precious thing that we have. We cannot get time
Absolutely.
back. You cannot add time to your existence. You cannot rewind, you might have a chance to redo situations, but you can't rewind and redo what you've already done. And, you can't take away things that you said. You can't
Absolutely.
undo things you've done, but you can
Hmm.
make better decisions moving forward. But and I tell people here every week, thank you for giving me your time, because that's the most precious thing that you have to give me.
Hmm.
We can make more money, we can get more gifts, but you cannot get more time. So when you're spending time with people, that's how you really truly, to me, how you show that you care about them and that you love them and that there's, you know like a bond, because when they're gone, that's all you have. You have memories. And
When you get that call, nothing else can replace that feeling.
all you have to look back on is the memories and the things that you've done. And I regret not being there more for my grandfather at the end, but I was also 18 and pregnant and confused
Wow.
and scared. Yeah, I was 9 months pregnant when I lost my grandfather.
Oh
And I
my
still to
god.
this day swear that he passed right into my stomach and came out as my kid, because them are two stubborn peas in a dang pod. I'm telling you right now. I am telling you right now. My son came out with my grandfather's stubbornness. Like, it's not even a joke. And Some days I'm like, oh my God, but other days he's the best. Loves hard, but he's just stubborn. My grandfather was a very stubborn man. Very
My
stubborn.
grandpa was too. He was like the best redneck you could ever meet. He duct taped his slippers. He wore long johns under his shorts. Like he had the the Christmas lights up on a single wide trailer. Like he was the best. Seriously though.
I think that people sometimes misinterpret who a person is by how they look. Um, and I'll never do that again. That's a whole other story within itself. But long story short, do not judge a book by its cover because you have no idea what's underneath. And once you open that book, you have no idea what you're going to discover. You know, it's like a good mystery. Um, don't
Yeah.
judge books by its cover. My grandfather was the same way. He didn't have to have high-end, expensive things. Now, my grandmother was kind of more of the fancy side. So when his stuff went bad, grandma would replace it. And I can remember he'd get mad. But those slippers were broken but they had a hole. But I love those slippers, Ma. As he called her, Ma. I'm like, oh my
My
God.
grandpa did too. They called each other Ma and Pa.
Yeah. Yeah. She would do the same thing. Um,
Yeah.
Archie Bunker. He was like an Archie Bunker some days, especially if he had a couple drinks in him. Oh, he was such a grumpy old bat. Well, I'll tell you what, he was the most amazing. He's where I get my work ethic from. My grandfather did give me one of the best work ethics I've ever seen, as long as I want to do the job.
My grandpa was a postmaster in 4 counties.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's a
Hard
very
working. Very
man.
hard. Yeah.
And
It
there's pictures of, because I'm the second grandchild, there's pictures of him coming home from work and just holding me in his uniform, and
mhm.
I'm feeling his beard because I'm sensory on the spectrum. I would feel his beard. I was nonverbal, so I just feel his beard and do the outline of the eagle on his shirt. And I absolutely, if I could go back today and talk to my grandpa in heaven, I would every single day.
Me too. It's they're definitely a different breed.
That
Um,
generation was amazing.
I tell my grandma all the time, why wasn't I your sister? Because I feel like I see these like sock hops from the 50s, right? And the 60s and like the 70s is probably a bit much for me. The 70s, I probably couldn't have survived the 70s. I have an addictive personality, okay? And I'd way rather be addicted to the sock hops and the milkshakes than what went on in the 70s. So I always say, like, I wanted to be a part of the 50s and the 60s. The music is probably some of my favorite music coming from the
The
50s and
Elvis.
60s. Elvis, my, oh my God, Johnny Cash. Oh my God,
Yeah, thank you.
I, um, I definitely wish I would have been born back then. But the things that they've been through, the things that they have seen, it's scary. You know, my grandma can remember
It
as
is.
like a kid, and then in the war and the depression, and I think that that's why my grandfather did the farming, and my grandmother fed us constantly because she was hungry as a kid, and she never wanted us to
Oh,
feel that pain of the hunger. She's never
like the
admitted it.
famine.
Well, because when she was a kid, they didn't have a lot, you know.
Yeah.
um if they didn't grow it or raise it, for the most part they didn't have the funds to have it. um so I feel like that my grandma, I think, made up for the lack of that in her childhood by feeding us. But what she didn't realize is the health issues from the abundant amount of McDonald's and sugar that we consume
Oh.
as children. But she
Like,
didn't do it to harm. She did it because she didn't want us to feel how she did when she was a kid. And they were raised to be good to your neighbor. They were raised to trust one another. They bent over backwards for their friends, and they didn't expect things
Yeah.
in return, and they loved
That's how my grandpa
unconditionally.
was. Yeah. It was
And
like awesome. Like he'd come in, like I'd come in, like the door was always open. I'd come in and he like, G, you want a cookie? You want something to eat? You want a drink? Like, and it's because they didn't have much.
you know, they really didn't. And I know for me as an adult now that looks back and realizes all this stuff, um, I really hope that a lot of you that are listening, if you've got relationships that are rocky, you should really try to mend them. Certain situations, like I have some relationships in my life that I can't mend because of mistakes I made in my 20s. I can't change that. I can't go back. But certain people hold grudges and they won't let it go. And sometimes that might be family, but it's okay to let go of toxicity. But if y'all have a chance and you can't even really remember why you're arguing with somebody, or I don't know, maybe they ate the last cookie and you really wanted it and you've been mad for 6 months over it. It's not my question to y'all. My question to y'all before you go get super mad at whoever, and it was kind of something that my grandfather taught me, was when you're laying on your deathbed, is this what you're going to be thinking about? Are you going to be thinking about that cookie? Probably not.
No.
Is it worth fighting over a pair of shoes that were ruined or an accident or a mistake? Because when you're laying on your deathbed, what you're going to be thinking in that moment is that you wish you would have spent more time with the people that you love.
Yeah.
So don't be taking that stuff too heavy, guys. Don't hold grudges. And man, let your heart out a little bit, folks. We all got our hearts on lockdown.
And also, like, if you're thinking about, man, picking these beans really sucks. You can always look back on that and be like, man, I wish I could relive that, but I can't.
Yeah. And for those of you that are young and you hate that your parents make you do events and you hate that you have to go out with your dad every Saturday morning and do yard work, I'm telling you right now, when you're my age, you're gonna miss it.
That song,
I
yes.
I'm gonna cry. See, I told you it was gonna get me. I never in my life, not for 1 second, out of all those years, complaining and crying about how I don't want to wake up and I don't want to pick the weeds and I don't want to pick the beans. I never once in that moment thought, wow, when you're in your 40s, you're going to miss this. So remember, sometimes things really suck and they're not fun. But if they're with people that you know care about you, suck it up, buttercup, because you will miss it, I promise. You know? I promise. You will miss it. If there's somebody that you know loves you, don't be mad at them. It's okay to get mad, but don't stay mad. Talk to them. Ask them why they did or why they said the things that they said or the thing that they did. Because sometimes it might be, for me, like my son, Mom, why do you do this? Because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. So sometimes we don't like what we hear. We don't like the direction they try to point us. But as an elder in the family, we're not going to point you into a direction of harm. We want what's best for you. We want you to succeed. We don't want you to have the struggles that we had. We don't want you to face the complications and the heartbreaks that we have. But we also know it's inevitable. We know that your heart's going to get broken more than once. We know that you're going to have to try things that we don't like for you to realize that was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But don't stay mad at people who've only tried to make you better. I spent a lot of my years mad at people for trying to better me. And I don't know why, other than I was angry. I was very angry. But yeah, y'all, don't take your elders for granted. Go spend that Sunday afternoon with grandma and make her awful, whatever, or delicious. I don't know. Some grandmas can cook, some grandmas can't. Um, cook with them. Learn their favorite recipe. Learn how to make those delicious chocolate chips that maybe nobody else in your family can make, right? Um, I don't know. Read her. The one thing I started to do was I would read books that my grandma read so that I'd have something to talk about when I didn't know what to talk about. Man, she reads. Uh, they were awful, like romantic movie like books, right? I don't read this crap, but grandma loved it, so I would read stuff that she read so that we could have conversations when we didn't know what else to talk about. Um, I would watch her soap operas with her. God, I don't know if y'all ever watched the soap opera. That stuff is one giant headache. It makes my life, it makes me feel better about my life. I'll say that. But at the end of the day, guys, I need y'all to remember that 99% of the time your elders are looking out for you. And with 100% guarantee, if it's somebody that you love, even though it's something you hate doing, just do it. It might suck to go to that show or to go, I don't know. My ex didn't really like to go on roller coasters and to swim and to do that kind of stuff, but he would do that stuff because I enjoyed it, and I thank him for that because those are the good memories I can look back on. But yeah. If you're just tuning in, guys, welcome to Lessons Learned. This is To the Moon, and we are discussing how you don't take things for granted. Oh my God. It's a featured show, Lily. Just keep moving on. We're talking about how I'm not mad at y'all. I just am processing how selfish certain people are. That's all. And opinionated, I suppose. But we're talking about how sometimes the loss of the person you love most is what makes us realize that we've taken things for granted in life. And we're talking about how when you're younger or when you're with people that you enjoy, sometimes you're stuck doing things with family and friends that you don't always want to do, but you should do it with an open heart and with a smile on your face, because one day you might miss that stuff. You really, really might. At 1 second, I'm dripping again. Oh, I can say this is my first featured show with the noise with the nose that like I can't control. So I'm really sorry. I can't just let it drip. But you guys, I want to thank all of you for the gifts, for the favorites. Make sure that you're favoriting To the Moon and Beyond. Was there anything else that if you could give all of these folks, the one thing that you learn most from this situation, what is the most important thing you want these guys to know from your perspective? Because I've rambled a lot.
If you feel like you are not, well, if you feel like your days are numbered or someone else's days are numbered, spend some time with that person, because pretty soon they're not going to be there anymore. And once they left, you will value not the barking. You will value everything that you did with that person, whether it be picking beans or listening to why you shouldn't have snuck out that night, or listening to a song on the guitar that maybe wasn't that good, but you'll remember it for the rest of your life. Don't take life for granted.
Facts.
Or someone else's.
I was just going to say, or other people's. I knew you were going to make me cry today, but it was only a few tears, and I'm not too mad about that. Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Lessons Learned. This is To the Moon and Beyond, and we are talking about how you cannot take the little things in life for granted, especially with the people that you love. But before I let you go, tell us a little bit about you and your stream and what we'll find when we come into your stream.
Well, I'm To the Moon. Some people call me Moon. I stream from 9 p.m. to around 2 a.m. just because I have a kid and I spend most of my time with him. Um, I also do like little inspirational speeches for people who have met their goals, like whether it be a 5 milli or whatever.
Nice.
Thank you. That person is just like making me laugh so hard. And yeah, that's basically it. I like to just vibe out and listen to music. I'm very musically inclined. I love everything about music. Sometimes I even stream about music, like let's talk about this person or stuff like that, like say Johnny Cash, stuff like that. Johnny Cash.
Do you have any events coming up or any other shows, auctions, battles, any of that fun stuff?
Nope, nothing like that coming up. I last minute got asked to be on your show, and I said, why not? I got up and I started writing this.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for popping on. I'm really glad you were able to make it because
Thank
otherwise
you.
y'all would have just had to listen to me talk all day. I do appreciate you for being on here. Before I let you go, was there anything else that you wanted to add to this?
Life is short. So hang on to the little things because you never know when you're going to get that call.
Yeah. All right, Moon. Thank you so much. I will let you go, and y'all are going to have to deal with just me for a few minutes. So
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Wow, you were amazing. Thank you To the Moon. Make sure you guys have her favorited, please. She's a late nighter, so you have to catch her on in the evening. She said she's on generally 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. So again, for those of you guys that are just tuning in, welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Silly Lily. We meet here every Friday from 10 to 11. Our second guest has had something come up, so we are going to do the little tidbit of self-care, self-love. Now, my first question for y'all, what have you done for yourself today? What have you done for yourself today? I call baloney, Ditz. I call baloney because we battled. And if that's nothing, that makes me sad. Are you not appreciating the little things? Just kidding. Just kidding. But anyways, you have done something. You got on live for your birthday. And y'all right now, okay. Oh, man. Hold on one moment. Join me in the comments, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ditzy Glitchy. Happy birthday. You look like a monkey. You smell like one too. You look like you belong in a zoo. I don't know. My mom had this big, huge thing about monkeys and zoos and how we stink. So if you can't be into my life, you can't be in my life and be like, it's okay not to go to the class today. It's okay. You can go tomorrow. No, I can go today and tomorrow because I don't know if I can go tomorrow. Something might come up. You don't know, and you should not put off things that are important to you. You just shouldn't. Ooh, where have you never been that you're dying to go? Where is the one place that you have got to see and it's on your bucket list? Bora Bora for sure. Italy. Okay, okay. Ooh, South Africa. That would be fun. Tahiti with the cabana. I can't say there's any one place, but I think that for me, I want to go overseas. I want to see what other parts of the world are like. Um, I definitely need to go to Australia and to Greece. Italy would be awesome, but I don't know if y'all have ever looked at Greece. Oh, my uncle's from Greece. And Kelly says Greece, let's go. Oh my God, I love the beach. It's probably my favorite place, hence Greece and Australia. It is surrounded. I want to see the coral reef before it's gone. I want to go to Australia and I want to do the deep sea diving and I want to see it before it's gone. For those of you guys that are not aware, the main reason I'm doing the tropical auction this month is because of this is the awareness for the ocean, for the reef, the coral reef. As the coral reef is disappearing, less fish are with the home. It's changing everything. And I find it really important that we all at least make one small change to help kind of save the world a little bit. Thank you, Jump Steady. Yeah, I am at least at this point, Kelly. And that's just since the 50s, you know? And if you think about it, like, yeah, you're like, oh my God, that was so long ago. But really, it's not. Because if in 50 years, that means in 100 years, it could be gone. It means his entire existence on Earth must be different, you know? And that is weird to me. That is scary. That we live on a planet and we're destroying our home. And one of my favorite lines in a song is, we've gone so far, and it's great. We've got rid of plastic straws wrapped in paper, but now we have paper straws wrapped in plastic. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of things that people are trying to do better or change. But to me, we can do the reusable straws. Or, I mean, a straw is not a necessity. I like straws, don't get me wrong, but I will reuse them. Even the disposable ones, I will wash and reuse. You know, the guilt gets to me, you know? Thank you for the faves and the gifts, everybody, too. Again, I do want to remind you guys really quick before I get into the next self-care question is that I cannot thank you for all the gifts and all the favorites during the show. So thank you very much. And more so, I want to thank all of you who have given me, even if it was only a couple minutes of your time today, because as we've talked about, time is the most precious thing that you can give somebody. So thank you, all of you, for being here. And my last question, what is it that makes you the happiest? First thing that comes to your mind, I don't care if it's chocolate ice cream. What makes you the happiest? Ooh, spicy roast is my job. Nice. Nice. I am hoping that that is changing. Being out of debt. Ooh, that's a good one, Ditzy. That's a good one. That's a good one. Coffee and the kitties. I can't read yours. Sorry, pretty. Being a mom is definitely amazing. But if we're being honest with who I've become today, and as I sit here in front of you guys, what makes me the happiest is helping other people. There's no feeling greater than knowing that I've helped somebody, be it family, friends, or one of you guys. And I know that overall it's kind of a generic answer, I suppose. But I have spent so many of my years not even being able to help myself, that now that I have the ability to see through some of the minor details and to look at an overall bigger picture, it, for one, tells me that I've grown, which is a big deal. It tells me that somebody else can wake up tomorrow with a smile on their face and not be as sad about a situation. But seeing somebody else who's totally upset or lost turn the frown upside down, it is huge. It is huge. And your name suits you, but I'm in a featured show, so I'm not going to say it. But I did just say it. So maybe I would recommend that you learn what I teach my children when they're like 3 or 4, and that is patience. And the ability to listen, to learn, not to listen, to respond. Because I can see that you clearly don't listen to learn. You listen to argue and to respond, and that is wrong. I'm not seeing it. So, self-care tips. You know what? My first tip is when people are talking to you, use both your ears. There is a reason you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, as Tara said last week. It is because you are to listen twice as much as you speak. That was one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn, because as an angry teenager and as an angry young adult, I listened to you to respond because I was taught at a young age that in order to get your attention, I had to get louder and be more in your face. So as I got older, I skipped the shut up and listen phase. It just was no longer an option to me because I already knew I was going to have to be better and louder and bigger than you. But that's wrong. I need to shut the hell up and listen to the words that came out of your mouth. Then I'd understand. Then we could talk. But I never gave you a chance to fully give me your side or to listen because I was taught by the elders in my family that you don't talk. Yep. Listen and hear are 2 different things. You can listen to whatever you want, but you really got to listen to, you got to hear somebody to truly get to know them. And if you care about somebody, you will shut up and listen. Otherwise, you're selfish. Because if you wanted somebody to listen when you were talking and they didn't, how would you feel? And that all falls back into that treat others as how you would want to be treated. I treat others how I want to be treated and how I want my daughter to be treated. You cannot learn from somebody if you don't hear what they're saying. Okay, self-care tip number 3. Get your energy flowing. Thank you. I'm pretty sure I have you favorited already. Get your energy flowing. If you let your energy become stagnant, you become stagnant. But if yours, okay, here, I'm going to take me as a prime example. For the last 2 weeks, I have had one roller coaster of emotions. I have been up, I have been down, and everywhere in between. Okay? I thought my life was going to crumble, and then I felt on top of the world, and then I was brought back down. I've been up and down. Okay? I stopped streaming as much as I was. I made a few appearances, but I knew that I needed to focus on me for a few days. Okay? But it wasn't just a few days that I took longer than I should have, at probably the worst time to take it, but it was a necessity for me. But what was more necessary than the break was getting back into the things that I love. It was putting myself back in front of you guys, because this is where I'm happy. This is where I spend a lot of time. And you guys are the people that bring me out of my slumps more than anybody else in my life. So for me to have avoided the stream and to not have been here for as much as I had been, it started to eat at me. And I started to get more upset. Hi, Hopi. I started to become more frustrated and more angry and agitated. And the little things started bothering me more than they ever had before. And I was watching a show on Netflix, and it's kind of a comedy, and I'm crying. I am crying my eyes out. But not because of the show, because I'd gotten in my own head. And so, was it 3 mornings ago, I woke up and I said, you know what? We're done. And I got up, I dragged my very cranky derriere out of bed. I grabbed my coffee, got my dog, took the dog out, came back in, got my phone, and I went live, and we went for a walk. So I took 2 things that had been stressing me out, my not exercising and my not being with you guys as much as I was, and I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And then I got up again yesterday, and I did the same thing. And now today, I did not wake up like, I don't even want to do this. And that's what I was doing. I was waking up and automatically putting myself into the boo-hoo cranky Lily phase. Whereas the last couple of days, I'm like, let's go. I'm ready. I'm going to do this. I've got this new job. I'm leaving next weekend. And I'm not focused on the boo-hoos. I'm not focused on the, oh, poor me, and I didn't get this, and my, no. Because if I focus on the negative, guess what I'm going to breed more of? I'm going to breed more negative thoughts, and I'm going to live in negativity. Whereas when I wake up and I'm like the other, okay, a prime example, I was out of coffee. I didn't have coffee yesterday. Y'all, on a prior to this past couple days, that would have broke me. I wouldn't have gotten out of bed. I know. Could you imagine Smiley waking up and having no coffee? But I got up and I went for a walk. And then on the walk, I remembered I had my little energy drink thing. So then I came back and drank the energy drink. But my point is, I didn't let something small and stupid ruin my day like I've been doing over and over and over again. And you better watch the news. Like I could. Thank you. I don't think a lot of you realize you in here and in here generate the aura that you attract. And if you get on about your day and you're not positive, chances are you're not going to have a lot of positive interactions. I was at the store, okay, and then here's something little. I was at the store, and this lady was arguing with her husband, and I could hear it from the aisle over. Well, her husband ended up going out to the car, blah, 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 all cussing, and I kind of walked by her a couple times, and at one point, she was kind of tearing up. And I stopped, and she had on what I can describe to you guys as something I would never wear. But I stopped, and I was like, oh my God, ma'am, where did you get that shirt? I absolutely freaking love it. I need to know where you got it. She's like, this thing, it's so old. And I'm like, it looks amazing on you, and it makes your eyes pop. I'm like, you should always wear it. And it was a pretty color. It just was very bright, okay? And she instantly, her shoulders went down. She didn't like, but she got the one little dimple on the one side. You never know what other people are going through. Please be kind. Before my time is up, I am going to do the Q&Q. And if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you're hitting my top 3. I'll read through the rest of the gifters here after I do this card. And make sure you've got my guest to the moon and beyond favorited. Now I'm going to ask this. We don't answer this now. We answer this at the beginning of next week. So be here next week, Friday at 10 a.m. But the answer to this is how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. What we do with this hour and that one is what we are going to do. Or is what we are doing. Sorry, what we are doing. If you had 1 hour to yourself right now, what would you do? Don't answer it now. Screenshot it. I want to, all right, guys. Whew. All right, future show is over. I can breathe a little bit. You guys, so again, thank you all of you for being here. I want to give a special shout out. We're going to be in the top 10. We got Esme Kelly, Travel Base Queen Lala, Davey, Fred, Casino. Look, his name is Dickard. Dickard. Why is your name Dickard? It makes me feel naughty. Find me Nemo, Ditzy, cool dude, and no block proper. Please send them with a favor. Forget about it. Whew, y'all. That was a good show. Even though y'all to listen to me blab a lot. I don't know what happened to Trey, but I hope he's okay. Ooh, thank you. I hope he is okay. Bugaboo, thank you. Oh, Fanny farts. Hi. Paul, you doing test? Thank you for the roses. Get in there. Holy cow, Tiss. Thank you, thank you. Oh! Oh, I can put my sounds back on. There we go. Thank you, thank you. Who sent that? Bugaboo! Oh, snap!